بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل Muhammad. Inshallah, our subject today is going to be about animals. In different lectures previously, I spoke about energy. Someone, if he quit eating animals, like the people now, some of them, they believe to be a vegan or vegetarians or so on. I'm not going to speak about is it good or bad now. I'm just going to speak about why Allah Azza wa Jal created animals. And from this creation, are they good for us? Do they have some good benefits? Otherwise, He would not allow us to eat from these animals, from their flesh. And is it human to eat from the flesh of the animals? Do they feel? It's very important because many of the other people, when they start speaking about animals, how Allah Azza wa Jal created them, they said, they're regular people. They have emotions and so on, and they do, and we say that too at the same time. But today, my main lecture is going to be about how they were created and why they were created. That's very important to know why and how they were created. At the very beginning of time, I'm going to connect two things together, okay? It is very important to focus on every point because those points are going to be new for you guys, okay? I always speak about CERN. CERN is a Hadron Collider, if you ever heard about it. What do I mean by Hadron Collider? In two countries between France and Swiss, both of them, they have between the two lands over there, they have something like a circle. They bring one atom of hydrogen or few atoms of hydrogen. They take out the polarity. I'm gonna speak about it a little deep, okay? They take out the polarity, and then after that, they start sending this atoms inside the circles very fast, close to the speed of light. Not the same one, closer to the speed of light. And then while they're spinning this atom inside the circles, they will start charging it like electricity. You can say that. You can start charge it. Why? Because they wanted to carry too much energy. And then at the very end, if you see it how they do it, you can go on YouTube and check it. They have like 10-minute videos. And then at the very end, they bring two of these hydrogen atoms and they hit them together at something close to the speed of light. What will happen at this point? Many things will come up to our life. Many things. Like we see many things that we didn't see it before. Many different atoms, different type of energies, and so on. I don't want to speak deeply because some people are physicists, and if I speak something wrong, they will say, "Oh, your lecture is wrong." No, I don't want to speak in detail, but I just want to show you that the most important part in this experiment is hitting those two atoms together. Okay, why they're hitting two atoms together? Who knows? Because there has to have a collision of two atoms for us to see something else. Before we speak remember about duality, we said at the very beginning of time there's something called singularity. Singularity, what does it mean? Singularity is a term that scientists use for when there's just one thing in physics, because we have now singularity in robotics. What does it mean, singularity in robotics? Mean humans will become robots in the future. Robots and a human become one. This is singularity in robots. Now, scientists are using this term a lot on their articles. I'm just telling you information. Singularity in physics is what? Is something that Allah Azza wa Jal created from nothing. Just one form, the Big Bang, how it happened. It came from something called singular. If I want to bring it closer to you, it is like imagining, for example, my hand has one face, it doesn't have anything behind it. That's one thing. If I want to make it duality, I will make it like it has two phases. Okay? This is two dual. With duality, we had a man and a woman. We have a negative and positive. For example, the energy charge for inside the battery has to have a positive or a negative to start working. for the object. So inshallah in the future you will see that more and more and more. For example, your cell phone battery has to have positive and negative together so you can use your battery. It has to have different charges, and that's important for us. Why? Because now some people, they're speaking about homosexuality and they want to bring the singularity of one form of energy, and this is very bad for the nature. Inshallah we'll speak about this in different lecture. Okay, why I'm speaking about the Hadron Collider while I'm telling you about the animals? Because Allah Azza wa Jal in a Islamic philosophy or Islamic tradition, if He wants us to know something, He will send this information. Never think that we are very smart to think about this from our heads. How? Let me give you an example. Some people, they will say, no, humanity are very smart. We train our brain to reach this place. Yeah, we train it to catch those signals, to catch this knowledge, but we don't train it to know this knowledge, to create it ourselves. Let me give you an example. 3 years ago, if you search in New York Times, one guy, I'm not sure about the name of the newspaper, but one guy, he was in New York, and this is a famous case. You can search it. What happened? He was, he dropped high school. He's a high school dropout. He was a very bad kid. He never learned anything in school. So he decided to be a DJ. And then he started working at a club. Every single day he just do music. He's not involved with any mathematics, any physics, or nothing. So one time he drank so much, and then he started walking on a street, and then suddenly someone else was drinking too inside the car, and he hit him. So he was hit by a car, and he affected his head so badly, very bad. What happened? They took him to the hospital, and then the doctor, he opened his head, and then he had to take small piece from inside his head. Small piece, because there was like internal bleeding. It was like a long operation, maybe 12 hours operation. After that, he started to waking up. He told the nurse, can you please bring me pen and paper? She said, okay, why you need pen and paper? He said, I don't know, there's too many numbers in my head. I want to write numbers. And then he started writing formulas of the mathematics formula. He started writing formula about singularity, and then something about energy, and so on and so on. And then he kept writing too many formulas and number. And the nurse said, do you know what you're writing? He said, I have no idea, but I just have all this information in my head, and I really want to give them up because they're eating my head up. And this is a famous case. You can search it on Google. I'm sorry, I don't really know the name of that guy. I can inshallah later bring it to you, but my proof here saying Allah Azza wa Jal through Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, through Imam Ali. What did he say? Imam Ali, he said something very important. He said, knowledge is not inside here to go out. I'm sorry, knowledge is not upstairs to come to you, or it's not under earth to come to you. It is inside your head, but all what you need to do is connect all the neurons inside your head to bring it out. Yani Allah Azza wa Jal, when He created our brain, He created it perfect. What do I mean by perfect? Yani everything, all languages, all sciences. Now you hate physics, right? You hate chemistry, you hate biology, you hate all the science. All these sciences are already inside your head. Everything, all the human knowledge is inside your head. How do you open it? You open it by rewiring your brain. Many neuron scientists, they're speaking about that. They said for you to know the right knowledge, you have to wire it the right way. That's very important to know, because I want, from the brain perspective, I want to go to the animals. Remember that very well. So Allah Azza wa Jal sent us this knowledge. Now the knowledge of CERN. Many Muslims now, the conspiracy Muslims, they keep saying, the devil is teaching us about CERN so we can destroy Earth. And this is not happening, because Allah Azza wa Jal is protecting Earth. It's not that simple that the devil just gonna destroy everything and leave. It's not that. Because if he destroy everything and leave, who's gonna whisper to, right? He doesn't have any job, then he can come back to hell. Right? So he need to stay as much as he can on earth, whispering to the people bad things. So let's continue. So when the humanity reached this point of knowledge through the help of Allah Azza wa Jal, through wiring our brain in the right way, what happened? Allah Azza wa Jal is truly showing us how He created us through CERN. What do I mean by that? That's very weird. I mean by when you hit two things together, many things will come up. In a sacred geometry, we're not hitting two things together. We're bringing two things together at the same time, and inside, if you read it from Surah Ar-Rahman, what do you see? بينهما برزخ لا يبغيان. What is barzakh? Is a word that collect the two universes, two dimensions together. Allah Azza wa Jal spoke about this. Are you following, guys? Do you see something hard so far? Anything hard? I can answer. Okay. So between those two from the sacred geometry, the physicists are simulating that with hitting two atoms together, because we don't have knowledge so far to enter two atoms together. We cannot marry them together, because so far we don't really know what is a bond, how we're gonna marry two atoms together. Anyway, so when we hit those two atoms together inside the CERN collider, the Hadron Collider, what's happening? Many things will come up. Some things, they have weird names. I don't want to mention their names, but I just want to mention what they're doing. Some of them, they go straight lines, like they go many straight lines, and some of them they come like circling like this, and some of them they're very weird. They don't know even how to catch them. And we have light. Some light will come up inside that. Why? Because we're hitting two big things together, and many different things together. Let's bring what those items inside the Hadron Collider to the reality of life. Okay? Now, if Allah Azza wa Jal is showing us how He created us from two things. I said it before, between Nur Muhammad and Nur Ali, right? I said it before. We were created here. This is what do I mean by the veil that exists between those two circles. Okay? Do you have any questions? The first thing, how Allah Azza wa Jal created angels. I'm depending on CERN experiment now. How He created angels. The light, yes. You see? Allah Azza wa Jal, He said, I created the angels from light. Inside CERN, when those two hit, we will have like a flashlight inside. This light is where Allah Azza wa Jal created the angel from. He's just showing us an experiment. It's not the true really light that He's going to create the angel from. It's just an experiment to see how we were created. If you think I'm stupid to say this reason, let me tell you something. This CERN collider cost the government $12 billion to build. $12 billion, yes. It is the most expensive ever experiment been created. And never think government in Europe and United States pay $12 billion just for no reason. So it has to be very important. Subhanallah. Look, but Allah Azza wa Jal, He's working His way through this. He's showing us that the creation happened, and those people are in the right way scientifically. But can they create people? No, because we have a concept that in the hand of Allah Azza wa Jal. What is this concept? Is the spirit. Nobody knows what is spirit. They know the physical form of the nafs. They know the physical form of how you create angels. But can they create angel? No, because the spirit. It is the main things I'm going to be speaking about when we go deeper into how He created the animals. And we go more. Inside those, some of them circles, previously I proved that Allah Azza wa Jal created man like a circle. Because He mentioned in the Holy Quran, the al-lu'lu' wal-marjan. Right? What is lu'lu'? Lu'lu' is, what do you call it? Pearl. And why women love pearls? Did you ever see a man loving pearl? Except the homosexual people. But did you see any? No, they don't. Why? Because it is natural for a woman to love something circular and very white, pure. It's purity. Okay, type. What about women? Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned them as marjan. Marjan are very pure form of something straight inside the sea. So both together make male and female. So male and female were created at this point of life. This is the nafs. We're speaking about nafs. Now we go even more deeper. What about the animals? Did Allah Azza wa Jal created them at that time? Yes, He created everything at the same moment when the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his light, his ball of light came inside the water. When He said, وَجَعَلَ هُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. You see? هُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ مِنَ الْمَاءِ. يعني He made everything alive through the water. Does the Mars has water? No, they say no, there's no water. Why we have something called Mars then? Do you think life itself need water, or we're created from water? On earth, everything depends on water to be real, to be alive. But what about atoms? Atoms depend on water or what? You see, inside atoms there's water. There is no water, but there is concept of water. What is water? H2O. Everything is created from H. Everything is made from H in chemistry. You see, so there's form of H inside everything to be alive. So what about animals? Where they are inside this concept? Allah Azza wa Jal, when He created all the anfus, all the nafs, He put the nafs as heavy nafs. There's heavy nafs. Now let me go a little deeper. I don't want to make it very deep for you guys. I feel you're getting sleeping now. Are you sleeping or no? Okay. If you open the atoms, I'm just gonna speak a little bit about it and then we continue. I don't want to make it heavy. If we open the atoms, what's inside the atoms? We have proton and neutron, and we have electron that's spinning around. And we're not gonna speak about electron. We'll go inside proton and neutron. What's inside proton and neutron? No, we have some forces inside, positive or negative forces. We call it, what do we call it? Who knows? Quarks. We call it quarks inside that. If you study quarks, what they are exactly, they say they're forces. Negative forces or positive forces. Strong forces or weak forces. That's important. Why? Because Allah Azza wa Jal, when we are simulating this in a CERN, we see something very powerful and something very weak. What is the powerful? Is us. Why us? Because we were able to take the brain power. What about the animals? They're the weak forces over there. They were not able to take the brain. They cannot take the brain. Why? Because brain has its own test itself. It's based on a test to have a brain. You have to be powerful to take the brain. Can we speak a little bit more about the brain? Is it just bunch of stuff together and then Allah Azza wa Jal created and He said this is your brain and it's very advanced or so on? No, Allah Azza wa Jal created the brain in very, very, very unique formula. Even the shape of the brain is always in a sujood time, in a sujood shape. Look at the brain. If you are a doctor, if you know a doctor, let him bring you a brain. You can take it all out. You see how is it going up and down like this? You can take it all, it will be like flat. But subhanallah, Allah Azza wa Jal gathered it in a way that someone is always doing a sujood. Why? Because we have now science called, in robotics, artificial intelligence, called deep learning science. What do we mean deep learning? Yani, you have to have a specific algorithm for something to create something else. And when Allah Azza wa Jal, we have a narration from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, He said to the brain, go away. He went away. He understood the command. Yeah, he did understood it. And then he said, come back to me, and he came back. I don't mean it in a form that go away like I'm sitting in a room and then he went to the other room. No. Allah Azza wa Jal gave this brain a lot of tests that this brain alone figure out that this thing is bad. And then when He told him to come back in a form of testing the brain came back. Right. The only thing that make us human is what? Is the brain. Originally, and in the way Allah Azza wa Jal created us from earth, we and the animal share the same bodies. Not the same form of bodies, but for example, they have a heart, they have eyes, they have everything except what? Except the brain. We are the only creatures on earth that Allah Azza wa Jal gave us this powerful tool. Why? Because He wants to test us with it. Why? Because we are from the strong forces that happen inside that collider. Okay. And then where did I get this from? Because I cannot just keep telling you. Some people, they call it stories. It's not a story. Allah Azza wa Jalla in the Quran said something very important. He said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'm gonna say it like usual in English, in Arabic, and then I'll say it in English. He said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَمَا مِن دَابَّةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Look how specific that. وَمَا مِن دَابَّةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا طَائِرٍ يَطِيرُ بِجَنَاحَيْهِ إِلَّا أُمَمٌ أَمْثَالُكُمْ. Yani Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying, there is no animal that walk upon the earth, nor a bird that fly with its two wings. Can we have a bird? Some people, they want to prove the Quran is bad. It's not legitimate. They start searching if we have a bird with one wing. Guess what? Did they find it? No, because Allah Azza wa Jalla said two wings. There's no one wing. Okay. That fly with its two wings, but there are genera like yourself. We have not neglected anything in the book. We have not neglected. What do I mean by that? Allah Azza wa Jal, He said, when He speak about a book, then He's speaking about the main creation. Allah Azza wa Jal, He put everything in a book. Yani when we were created, Allah Azza wa Jal, He put us as things in this book, as the beings in this book. When the time to come to earth to start our test, He bring us from that book, and then we are on earth now. And then when we finish, we'll go back to that book. I don't mean specifically physical book that has two covers. No, it's a book that have all the information. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So we continue. So what is if Allah Azza wa Jal gave us the brain and didn't give them the brain? Then why He allowed us to eat their meat? Why it is important to eat their meat? Look, if a person, it's very important. If a person, he need a specific vitamin, what do he need to do? He starts searching for those things inside, for example, the plant. If you need protein, you need to start search inside. We have certain plant that have protein. We have certain plant that have fiber. They have everything that the meat have. But they miss something that Allah Azza wa Jal, He want us to see it at least every time, every month. We have a narration from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, at least you should eat meat every one time a month. Why I'm saying one time a month? Because at his time, for him to get like a pound of let's say meat, they didn't have a place to, like a Walmart or Kmart, to go buy 1 pound. They have to raise a sheep. They have to wait so much time, and then when it's time, it's ready, they go ahead and they bring the meat. Okay, they eat it. Yeah. So over at that time, when He said at least one time a month, He was not speaking about just protein, eating protein or eating fibers or so on. He is talking about something that touch the spirits. Something that touch the spirit. What is exactly the spirit? That's the important part and the most critical part. And I'm sure many people will criticize what I'm going to say now. This is normal. But I'm presenting this from this side. It's just a point of view. I'm not presenting Islam with it. I don't have any proof of it yet. But I'm just showing you that it's just a building a specific type of philosophy. Okay? What is a spirit? Allah Azza wa Jalla in the Holy Quran said a spirit is something that He ordered to create. وَمَا الرُّوحُ إِلَّا مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي وَمَا أُوتِيتُ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Yani the spirit is, you can translate from Arabic to English, Amru Rabbi to two things. What do I mean by Amru Rabbi? Amru Rabbi is an order of creation, right? Allah Azza wa Jalla said, be, and it will be. And the second thing that most ulama like it, Amru Rabbi, is what? This is like something, it's God business. It's not your business to know it. And I don't think it is that. The meaning is, it is ordered by God to be a spirit. A spirit in a form that we can understand is a energy. It's what make you you. But for example, what's make you you now? Who knows? What is you now? Some person will say, oh, my name is Muhammad. I'll say, okay, your parents called you this Muhammad. But who are you inside you, your being? What is it exactly? What is made you so precious, so special? For example, I can make a robot now that look like you, and I'll shoot him, I'll take it to the police station, I'll shoot it 5-6 times, and nobody will tell me anything. It's just a robot. Even though it's a smart robot and have supercomputer, it'll be able to speak to you and so on. But why nobody cared about it? Because it does not have a being in it. It's just a program. Us, nafis, our nafis is just a program too. But what make this program so unique is the spirit, because it's connected to a spirit. Look, that's very important. What do I mean by that? When Allah Azza wa Jal, Yawm al-Qiyamah, is it hard subject? Are you sure so far? Are you following? Okay. Yawm al-Qiyamah, what's gonna happen? Yawm al-Qiyamah, do you think those people, the bad people, they're gonna go inside hell with their spirits or not? Who knows? The spirit is a unique, pure thing. It's very unique, very pure. Why it's gonna go inside hell? Allah Azza wa Jal will strip out the spirit from the people who were acting bad in Alam al-Dunya. Why? Because the main energy, the main foundation of that, they'll be founded in what? They'll be founded on fire. Their nafs, the main energy for their nafs is fire. It's no more a spirit. So they cannot even imagine what is happiness anymore. So what does this come with? What type of food they will be eating? Can they still eat meat? In hellfire, can they eat meat? Why not? Because, no, not just that, because there's no encryption inside their stomach that the meat will be good for them, pleasurable. Why? Because the meat is mixed with spirit, something very heavenly. In Yawm al-Qiyamah, inside the hellfire, they will be eat something from Shajarat al-Zaqum. Why? Because this is the only thing that will make them stay there alive. They're dying anyway. It's a little weird concept. It's a weird concept because they're already dead. How are they gonna stay alive? You see, the Allah Azza wa Jal in Alam al-Qiyamah, after Alam al-Qiyamah, when some people will go to heaven and some people go to hell, we will still need this thing that keep the spirit always attached to us. In the people who live in heaven, they always need this to stay in heaven. What do I mean by that? Allah Azza wa Jal created something called what? Hur al-Ain. Hur al-Ain are not just physical form of woman that you do so and so with and then that's it, you finish. No. It is something that has the concept of making you always attached to the spirit. It is something that has food and that has everything good to make you good always. In hellfire there's nothing like Hur al-Ain. So those people, they have to eat something, and this thing will be from where? From Shajarat al-Zaqum. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in the Quran. Why? Because their foundation, the thing that keep them alive, they keep the nafs alive, is hellfire. So they always have to keep eating from this to keep their foundation nafs always alive. Okay. Any question about that? No, nothing? Questions? Okay. So why the spirit is important? Why Allah Azza wa Jal attached spirit to those animals? First things, we eat animals not just because the fibers, not just because the protein, not just because we have good nutrition in it and then we'll feel so full. No. Because those animals, I told you, they carry something from this spirit. And then Allah Azza wa Jal, He wants always us to be connected with this. Masala, let me give you an example. Some people, they will say contradicting with the people who study spirituality. I am from the people who study spirituality very heavy. And then the first rule of spirituality tell you that always stay away from spirit for you to be always connected to the spiritual world. Let me tell you something very important. The people who always practice spirituality, it's not recommended to quit eating spirit more than 41 days. Why? Because they will not be connected to the spirituality world anymore after that. All the people who study spirituality, always they tell them to not eat spirits from spirit, or something came in from spirit for the 41 days. Let me tell you something. From Sheikh Al-Ihsa'i, one time I read a very important article. This Sheikh died maybe 600 years ago. And this guy, I think we didn't have something like the knowledge he presented so far till this moment. So far, because he was very close, bringing religion and science very close together. Sheikh Al-Ihsa'i, very, very close together. He is very brilliant. And he spoke about these things. He said, when someone eats meat has a lot of fat. We have something inside body called evaporation. Okay, what do I mean by evaporation? For example, when you touch, for example, over here your head, sometimes you see it greasy, right? There's a lot of grease over here inside your head. And some people, they call it oil. There's some oil. Why we have those things? We have them because when you eat meat from this fat, it is evaporating. And this evaporation, it's not very good for the brain, this evaporation. So what will happen? All the grease and everything from the oil, the skin will take it out because you want to protect the brain. So if, let's say you go to the sheikh, I'm going to connect this with the subject. If you go to the sheikh and you tell him, I dreamed yesterday about me flying or in the horizon, what do this mean? He will tell you always, what time did you dream about it? You will say, it was like 2 or 3 o'clock. Let's say immediately, if he knows, he will tell you this is not important dream. Why? Because at that time, your body is acting as an agent to take all the oil out. Okay? Usually after Salat al-Subh, they tell you it's a true dream, not because it's Salat al-Subh, no, because at this time you've been sleeping 5-6 hours and all the evaporation happened already. So if you want to dream about something, it will be a clear dream. Yeah, this is the only reason why ulama tell you if you dream it in the morning, it will be a good dream, not a bad dream. Not like something you were imagining before you dreaming. Okay, you see, this is the connection. But eating, so you tell me now, eating meat is bad because this is what it is doing to you. No, actually no. Not everyone in the universe or over here 7 million people is connecting to the spirituality. Not all of them. Many people are very far from spirituality. So how Allah Azza wa Jal is going to give you spirituality? Going to be by what? It's going to be by what He allowed you to take from animals. Like now we are closer to the idea to know why Allah Azza wa Jal, He allowed us to eat from the good meat like cows, chicken, for example, from the inside the sea, and He didn't allow us to eat from what? From the pigs. Why do you think? What's the difference between both? Because the spirituality of the pigs is not good for you. It's very, very, very bad. It will affect everything inside you. One of the ulama, I didn't say that, if you see some people who study that very deeply, they say if some people they keep eating from the pigs or they keep eating from the meats that they're not halal. What do I mean by halal? And they're not the right way of slaughtering. What will happen to you? The first thing, you will start having a hard heart, and you will not care about anything. Let me give you a close example, very close example. Where we live in Detroit, right? Next to Detroit. If you go there, I'm not criticizing those people, please don't get me wrong. You see, we have to always open our eyes in the ayn of basira to see the reality. Okay, you see someone in Detroit driving a car and you are behind him driving. What the first thing you will notice about those people? Not all of them, some of them only. Why? Because those people, they eat so much pigs, And then the second thing, they always smoke so much weed at the same time. What the effect of those two together to the human soul? Those people will become very, very slow. Very slow people. But then while they're driving very slow. They feel life going slow. If you tell them something more than just a physical thing, they will feel it's very hard to establish. If you tell them, add 5 plus 5, what will happen? They will feel it's like you give them the nuclear formula, of creating something very deep. And they don't really know what it will be 10. Eating from those souls, it will make your brain get very slow. And will get your heart very hard. Now you go to that places in Detroit. If they know you have some of them, I'm not saying all, they're very good people there. Some of them they will kill for $5. Why? Because they have no more spirits, no more being. They're dead inside them. Why? Because they did not follow the shara of Allah Azza wa Jal into this thing. So when I say slaughtering animal, many people they love animals. They will come to you now. They will say it's bad to kill animals. Well, let me tell you something. It's very beautiful, subhanAllah, how Allah Azza wa Jal created that. Look, if you bring a chicken now, just put her head on the table, on the floor. What the first thing you will notice happening? Who knows? Not just that, not just will present her neck. No, it will be hypnotized. It will be hypnotized, doesn't know anything. I read many articles about that scientist, about specific animals only, not all animals. But for example, if you bring the pig and you throw his neck on the floor, he doesn't have a neck, but if you put his body on the floor, he will fight you to go up. If you put a dog on the floor, he will fight you to go up. But look at those things. If you put a cow on the floor, what will happen? She will just stare at the wall, and then her eyes will close together. You will feel like something bad is happening. What's happening there? She's hypnotized. Yeah, she's not feeling what's happening. Why? Because Allah Azza wa Jal is the most merciful. He's the most merciful. She will not feel anything when she died. Same thing for the chicken. Same thing for everything allowed you to eat it. Why? Because when the first thing cut, Allah Azza wa Jal created an automatic pump, vacuum pump that will take all the blood out. Why we say halal is important? Not just because we turn it to the Kaaba and we read the dua to it. We asking the permission of Allah Azza wa Jal to eat it when we say Allahu Akbar. No, not just that, but because there is inside a vacuum pump inside our heart. If you cut one side, like Islam say, what will happen? The brain will order the heart to pump very fast over here. Why? Because the brain needs blood to stay alive. So it will order the heart to start pumping only to the heart. What's happening? The heart will take all the blood from inside the body, and then will pump it up where you cut in the neck over here. So all the blood will go away. Why? Because it's haram in Islam to eat blood. The blood needs madad, tasbih Allah Azza wa Jal, and you cannot eat it from different person. It's very bad, in spirituality. Right. Now we continue with that. We go back to the main subject. I wanted to give a small idea of why we eat halal and why Allah Azza wa Jal allowed us to eat halal. He will not, if eating animals is bad for us, Allah Azza wa Jal will be the first one to tell us do not eat animals. But some people, they eat animals in the morning, and in dhuhr, you will have big mahshi, and then before you sleep, your mom will make you 5-6 chickens inside them. You have 5-6 sisan and so on, and you eat a lot of stuff. No, it is not recommended by that. Ahl al-Bayt sallallahu alayhi said, everything excessive will be bad for you. Don't get me wrong. If I tell you if you eat from the animals spirituality, you're not going to be a sheikh tomorrow. You're going to be a very weak person. It's not very good to eat too much meat. You always have to keep balancing that. Balance it. For example, eating from a spirit, something comes from a spirit, like what? Like eggs, like honey. Honey, Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned honey in the Quran as a mashrab but the body always in need for it. Your body need for it, specifically for the ladies. I know a lady, she's 70 years old. If you look at her, you will think she's 40. Why? Because every single day she eat one honey small piece of it. Why? Because the honey is very good for the face, very good for the inside your body. It will give you many important things for your body. This is one thing. We have many different things, but this is not the main subject. So I'll go back to the main subject. Now, I'm not sure if we still have time. I'm gonna speak a little bit more about the cloning. Why the science was able to clone animals and he was not able to clone a human being. Do not believe scientists when they tell you they didn't clone human being because of moral issues. You know, in 1998 when the first sheep was cloned, the dolly, everyone heard about it, and some of you were not born yet, but if you remember that day in 1998, they were able to clone a sheep, and this sheep, they call it dolly. And it was a very successful project, but the only thing after the cloning, her body had a lot of problems, and she died young, the clone sheep. And at that moment, they started thinking, they told us that, we are thinking about cloning human beings. In reality, they tried many times to clone human beings, but they did not succeed. Why? Because Allah Azza wa Jal will not allow them to do so. Why? Because they do not have an access for the spiritual, for the heavy spiritual. We only have access for the low spirits. Why? Because they already exist in the animals. We are over them. We cannot get something over us. We cannot get something very heavy. We only get something very weak. From the place where I told you, if you study about the quarks, you know the quarks, if you study it, it is like a glimpse of studying spirituality. Inshallah, in the future we'll clear that more and more in life. So why Allah Azza wa Jal created animal? He created animal because animals carry the light weight of beings. What do I mean by that? There's a very important ayah from the Quran about that. I know I'll conclude very fast because I feel you guys getting tired. Allah Azza wa Jalla in the Quran said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَمَا هَذِهِ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا لَهْوٌ وَلَعِبٌ وَأَنَّ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ اللي هي الحيوان. Look, he mentioned a name over here, hayawan, over here. And then ulama, they said, why Allah Azza wa Jalla said, after life, it will be hayawan. Hayawan in Arabic means animal. Why he said afterlife will be the animal? He did not mean the animal. The creation of animal means something light-weighted. When he tell you Ad-Dar al-Akhirah, where we're going to stay, is it going to be light-weighted like the same thing the animal lived here? How the animal live here? Do they have obligations? Like for example, Mr. Dog, he married Mrs. Dog, and then they have 2 kids, and then Mr. Dog, he has to go work to feed Mr. and Mrs. Dog, and then Mrs. Dog, if he treat her bad, you know, she can go and give him hard time at the court, and then the court will make her divorce him and then go to different dog. No, they don't have these things. They don't have no obligation. Why? Because they're lightweighted spirituality. When Allah Azza wa Jalla said لَهِيَ الْحَيَوَانِ, because there's no obligation after that. Why? Because Allah Azza wa Jalla will give you everything over there. It's not going to be anymore like alam dunya. For sure there is many things into this subject. I really gave this subject very fast because it's there's a lot of, inshallah in the future we'll be presenting it. If you have any questions. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wal-'asr inna al-insana lafi khusr إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله. صلوا على محمد وعلى محمد. الله. خلينا كيفك ترجع تسأل السؤال حتى أحطه بالمحاضرة.
بدي أرجع نسأل إذا الإنسان صار لوقت طويل فيجيتيريان بتخف عنده الطاقة بتخف عنده الروحانية.
So she's asking an important question. If someone, let's say, depending on what I said, if he quit eating animal, do you think his spirituality will be higher or lower? No, the spirituality will be lower, much lower. It's only recommended to not eat sometime if you're doing a spiritual thing, a spiritual act, only 41 days, no more than 41 days. After that, you have to go back eating this. Why? Because not eating this will always get you slower. Same thing like your brain. If you eat so much of it, for example, if you eat so much pig, the bad spirit, it will make you slow. It will destroy many things inside your body. Vice versa, if you don't eat at all, from the recommending things, command will make you slower. Allah Azza wa Jal, when He sent Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you see there's a verse on that, He sent him on a middle way. He didn't send him so spiritual, and He didn't send him so materialistic. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدَّ عَلَى الْكُفَّارِ رُحَمَاءُ بَيْنَهُمْ. The ayah, if you continue the ayah, all of it, it will tell you that whoever with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he will not be like the Christians. Christian, they love so much the mysticism. Like they want to live alone, they don't want to marry no one, they want to live away from anything. And He did not send us something like the Jewish. Jewish love so much money, they want to have the power, everything they measure it by money or so on. Islam is something between both. Something for body and something for spirituality. So yeah, if you leave anything from spirit, you will get slow. Yani many of these people now, they exist around us. And I want to give you one more things. The best example, there's a guy and he's a philosopher called Osho. He's very famous philosopher. And you know Maryam Noor, the one who always gives, she keeps speaking about him, right? Yeah, this is her ideal person. You know, this person is like a prophet to Maryam Noor. And then she always keeps speaking about him and in a good way and so on. And she say always quit eating animals, so on. Animals is very bad for you. Eating so much, yeah, is very bad. But eating in a middle way, in a modest way, is the best way. So this person Osho, the person who quit eating from the animal, he was so vegan. He lived all his life in a cave. Sometime later he went to different countries, start preaching. Whatever you can imagine about a great person, at the very end he died by a cancer. So why from where did he get the cancer then? He kept saying to the people, if you eat from animals, you're gonna get cancer. That guy, he's always all his life ate from plants, and then he got cancer. Why he got cancer? So it's not making sense.
إذا كان vegetarian بيأثر على الروحانية.
أكيد يا.
أوكي. لكن ليش لما بينعمل أعمال روحانية يبتعد عنها؟
Yeah, that's an important question. For the spiritual people, she's asking if you are making spiritual act, spiritual word or something. Why those people they stay away from from eating spirit? Not because the spirits inside the animal, because of her meat. The meat, eating too much, eating the meat will make your brain, the vapor of those ones when you sleep go away. Like every need 4 hours to go away. Those people, they're gonna depend on their spirituality for 41 days just to raise it up. And later they need to go back to the meat, so they be depending on it. But when they do the 41 days, they need to take all the evaporation away from their body. So the first thing, masalan, when those people are practicing for 41 days, they will not have oil over here anymore. Like for example, if they stay not going to the shower for 3 days, it will always be dry. This is why they need it. They need clarity in their mind. Animals, I didn't say if you eat animals you'll be always focused. No, I said animals have this concept. You eat animals, we have a narration from Ahl al-Bayt, every 3 days eat one time animals. From Rasulullah we have a narration said at least, maximum do not exceed 1 month without animals or anything come from the animals. So it is important to keep eating from those animals, because Allah Azza wa Jal allowed us to do so. We're not killing beings here. Those creation, Allah Azza wa Jal created them for us because they were light souls. The same way I explained from the Hadron Collider, Allah Azza wa Jal, He put them on your service, and then when they service you, they take heaven, their own heaven. No? تفضل. Yes. No, it's not haram to be vegetarian. No, for sure. I'm not a sheikh or mufti or I studied Hausa to tell you it's haram to not be to always eat or to be a vegetarian. No, I'm saying even if you are a vegetarian and you are a committed vegetarian or you're committed vegan, even if you are very committed, I always recommend you to eat one time a month, at least one time a month, depend on the narration of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because your spirits always need this glimpse of other spiritual from the low spirits. I told you from the Hadron Collider, we need duality always to stay alive. And for your spirituality, normal spirituality, or your brain, or anything inside your body to stay always great, you need this duality. You need something from the different glimpse. We are the heavy spirits, and the animals are the light spirits. You see, I want you to study the atom today. Go to the atom, study something called quarks. Inside quarks, you find low, heavy, and then low, heavy. Study those ones. We need the low to always stay heavy. It's a balance in life. Yeah.
في بعض الحيوانات اللي بيقولوا حرام أكل مثل النحار والرخويات.
نعم.
بعض العلماء بيقولوا كل ثمار البحر هي حلال أكل. ليش في أنواع من الحيوانات اللي هي حرام أكل مثل الرخويات؟
نعم. إن شاء الله I'll answer this after لأن ما نخرج بالموضوع بس إن شاء الله after. Any more question about this subject? Yes.
You said that the difference between us and animals is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us brains
Yes.
and not the animals. But like in classes for biology or whatever, if you dissect the animals, you can still see their brain. So do you mean like their brains do not have consciousness, like they can't make decisions? Because they
Not
still
just
have-
when I that's very important question. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, like, they still have brains, like, that tell their heart to keep
Yeah.
pumping and stuff like that.
Yeah. He's asking Kaman important question. He said if you go to take biology classes, you start, they bring you a monkey, and then inside a monkey you see a brain. Or maybe a cow, you see a brain. Maybe the dinosaur, they have a brain inside them. Or maybe if you bring an elephant, there is a brain. When I spoke about the brain, I didn't just mean the physical brain. We have something called the brain or and aql in Arabic. Aql mean a reasoning thing, something that give you reasoning, give you the decision. Animal, they can make decision, but they're not connected to the unconscious world. They're not connected there. Let me give you an example. Scientists, they study heavily, do the animals dream or not? And they found out they dream, but their dreams are not about the future. They dream about something they always did in a present sense. Let me tell you something, and that's an experiment. They got like a monkey, or maybe a bird, I don't remember. They put this animal in a circle, and inside this circle they kept putting like color and then obstacle. I'm sorry, not either monkey. It was a mouse. I'm now trying to remember. It's a mouse. So they put this mouse inside this circle, and then they closed this circle like a wall. They made like a wall in it, and they put in it like colors, and then some obstacles, and somewhere there's food, and somewhere there's water, and they keep always make her run inside this circle. And then while she's running and eating and going over this obstacle, they're recording all the data. They have something in her head connected, and with a supercomputer to record everything. So while she's sleeping at night, they found out that while she's walking there, when there's an obstacle, the same activity inside her brain, they found it over here. And then later they found she's happy when she starts eating, the same simulation. So they found out that while she's sleeping, the mouse, she's dreaming about this circle too. But they found something different than what she experienced in the circles? No, nothing. So here we know that their brain is different than our brain. Their brain only work with the reality they know. Our brain work with the reality that we didn't even see. Yeah. Sometimes, even those scientists, they always say they're atheists, but because of them, we believe more in God. Because they're proving more and more what we believe in. Yeah. You had a question, right? You already asked it? Yeah. Any more questions? Yeah. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.